And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode. This is the Sports Cave. Your co-host, Robbie. Is Zach here? Is Zach here? Zachary is indeed here. Welcome, Zach.
Yes,
Car Lever, welcome, brother. Thank you for tuning in, as always. Oh, you didn't load up the chat.
Cocksucker.
That's not nice. What did Car Lever do to you?
Car Lever, how are you, brother? I'm not calling Car Lever a cocksucker. That's just it's a phrase I throw out there from time to time.
I think it's pretty rude.
I'm not gonna lie to you guys. If you can hear it in my voice right now, I am
dying.
I'm a little bit under the weather at the moment, folks, but the show must go on.
Now, what was it like inhaling as much penis as you did over the weekend to make you
Okay.
feel so sick?
You gotta fucking always gay it up. We're not even we're literally not even a minute in.
Well, if I don't gay it up, you just retard. I stopped.
Okay,
I didn't
there we go.
I didn't say it. I didn't say it. I didn't say it. I stopped myself.
There we go. Yeah, Bob, it's been a rough couple days, but
All right, you got to get
through this guy.
You got to give us a recap. What was the Beer Olympics like Saturday?
So I was at my buddy's girlfriend's cottage this weekend, folks, and we did some Beer Olympics, as Robbie just mentioned. So the way we did the draft sort of thing was we loaded up all of our names onto this app. It was like a wheel spin type thing.
Mm-hmm.
And basically it spun the first two names. Those guys were on a team, so on and so forth. I ended up getting my buddy's girlfriend as my partner for the Beer Olympics. And love you, Ave. Terrible performance on your part. Horrific.
Oh my God.
Didn't pull her own weight at all. Just disgusting performance on Avery's part. Sorry, Ave.
What did Abe do to deserve that vulgarity that you just spewed out there?
Now, in her defense, I lost us one game completely. Tell me if you think this sounds hard, Robbie, because when I heard this, I thought this sounds easy. Now, however, when I did it, I had already been drinking all day long, and the liquid inside of it was pretty fucking warm.
Ooh.
So, basically, you get an ice tray that has 12 slots on one side, 12 slots on the other side, like a regular ice cube tray, so 24 slots total. And you put beer in it, and then you got to put a straw in your mouth, and no hands, dunk your head and drink every slot one by one. I ended up getting to like 7 or 8, and I just felt it coming up. I just turned around, puked, went for another one more ice cube tray, turned around, puked. So at that point, I had to pretty much tap out of that game, but I then was able to pretty much single-handedly win the next 3 events for pretty much a miraculous bronze medal. We were representing Team Jamaica, Yaman. And, I mean, it was all in all just a hell of a day. There was some psychedelics, rock and roll. I mean,
well, I don't know if it was floor. It's probably the ground. Oh, okay. All right. I see what you're doing. Okay. All right. I see what you're doing. Okay. All right. I think it was grass. Zachary, grass. It wasn't the floor.
It was some grass. It was grass. Yeah, we were Carla. Yeah, we were on like my friend's girlfriend's cottage is like a big. It's got like a big grass property area. So we had like a big. One of the games is actually pretty fun. You gotta. It was like a relay race. So you and your partner, you got to start off at one end of this gigantic slip and slide. But you probably have like let's say like a 25 to 30 meter run to get to the slip and slide. Then you got to jump on the slip and slide, go all the way down. Then once you get off the slip and slide, you got to breach right or breach left, depending on what side. I just said that backwards. Breach right, breach left, whatever. Depending on what side you're sliding down on. And then there is a chair there with a couple shotguns. You have to grab the beer, shotgun the beer, and then run back, tag your partner in the hand, and then they begin their slip and slide.
Now, how much do you think you guys spent on beer?
A lot of fucking money. A lot of money. Beer and liquor alone. But also, like, the guys that I went up with are I call them my bougie buds because they like to spend some cash. So we had like bottles of like Don Julio and this and that. And then I'm sitting there with my $30 pink Whitney bottle and my cases of Busch Light.
What? 1 beer, 2 beers, 3 beers.
Oh my God.
A lot of beers. Well, Zachary, I'm glad
you
your beer Olympics. And when will this happen again? Next year? This is once a year occurrence, or is this every year occurrence, or every 4 years?
Well, all right, so I'm stuck my teeth there. We've done this we've done this cottage the last 3 or 4 years in a row, but this is the first time we've ever done beer Olympics. So I imagine this will become a tradition now.
You have to start training. You have to become a real alcoholic more than you already are.
Yeah, no, I now that I know what the games are, I can really focus now. And I'm also I'm probably the greatest cornhole player on planet Earth. I'm thinking about sending in some highlight tapes to professional cornhole leagues.
Jesus Christ. Now, question: do you hear the fan blown into the microphone at all?
I do not.
You didn't hear that? Okay, perfect. Because it's like 115 degrees in this room, so I don't know if the AC is working or if I'm just like really, really, really hot. But well, two things. Because one, I am actually pretty hot. But
Jesus fucking Christ. And with that, let's get into some sports.
You want to get into some sports?
Yeah, this is in fact the Sport Cave.
Twitch and live on YouTube with your co-hosts Robbie Clark and Zach Roden. Well, Zachary, I said we waste no time and we dig right in. Now, as I crack that beer sound there, Zachary, it appears that neither one of us will be drinking for today's episode.
I do have beer in front of me over here on my table, but I just think it's probably in my best interest to stay away from some beer for this episode.
Well, we're almost done.
Yeah, I got this much liquid left, so maybe I'll be getting into some beer. But Mr. Robert, that is the beautiful sound of NFL football. Mm-hmm. And let's just be honest with each other here, folks. We're less than 2 weeks away now, guys. We are literally less than 2 weeks away. NFL football preseason is completed. If that'd be vodka in there, Carl Lever, Robbie would be saying some crazy outlandish shit.
I'd probably be dead. I don't think I would have anymore.
But we saw some great quarterback play from some rookies such as your Drake May in the preseason.
Fantastic.
Yep. Caleb Williams looks good in the preseason. Who else? Bo Nix looked pretty good in the preseason. So, but at the end of the day, Robbie, you know it, and I know it. It is just preseason.
Mm-hmm.
But I did mention Drake May there, so why don't we get right into that? I'm not gonna lie to you, Robbie. He has looked very impressive, and with
phenomenal. He's looked wow
with Mr. Jacoby Brissett going down with that shoulder injury yesterday, which, by the way, did you see how the guy got to Jacoby Brissett on that play?
Yes, because the left guard ran into the right guard. It was too late to go try to protect him. And
he threw a great block, but on his own teammate, clearing a very clear path to Jacoby Brissett, who gets absolutely flatlined, injuring his shoulder. Are we seeing Drake May week 1 starting quarterback?
Well, it depends on the health of Jacoby Brissett, and this kind of reminds me what's going on here with Justin Herbert and Tyrod Taylor. If you remember with the Chargers, they were so insistent on not playing Justin Herbert that they were going with Tyrod Taylor until one day, randomly, right before game time, they punctured Tyrod Taylor's lung with an injection that forced Justin Herbert to play and never looked back. So, I mean, this is kind of like the same case scenario outside of them intentionally trying to hurt Jacoby Brissett with a needle. It happened on the football field. I was an advocate a couple of years ago with Mac Jones to throw him to the Wolves if he thinks he's ready, and they did. And I mean, the Patriots panned out pretty good that year. They went 11-5, but this year, the AFC East is so much better than what it was 2-3 years ago because the Jets have Aaron Rodgers now. Tua and the Dolphins are an offensive juggernaut team, and then of course you have Josh Allen in the Bills.
It's a very good division.
I think you really just got to be patient with this whole rebuild. The Patriots are going to be a bottom feeding team this year and possibly next year. So we're looking at 2 years from now, the Patriots looking to make some sort of contention for the AFC when you got Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen. It's not going to be easy for Drake May. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you he's going to be a top quarterback in the AFC because the AFC is loaded. I mentioned those three guys, and I left out Lamar Jackson. There's so much
time MVP winner.
There's so much talent in the AFC that there's a lot of pressure on Drake May. Whereas you look in the NFC with Caleb Williams, who's the best quarterback in the NFC? Essentially, is it Jalen Hurts? I mean, it's crazy enough to say, Zach, but is it Dak Prescott with how is it Brock Purdy? Is it Matthew Stafford? Is it Kyler Murray? So there's not as much pressure as Caleb Williams, although in a way you could argue, yes, there is because he's trying to go into that upper echelon in the NFC. But I think
it's easier, I guess, an easier quarterback battle for him. As crazy as to say.
As bad as the offensive line has been, you're better off trying to play Jacoby Brissett and not hurt your future player.
So you don't even want to see him this year, right? You want him just to sit back, learn the game?
It all depends, dude, because like I'll allude to again. there's so many question marks on the offensive end as it pertains to, is Drake May going to be the quarterback of the future, or is Jacoby Brissett the best option for, trying to figure out what they're going to go to the offseason. Essentially, they have numerous questions at wide receivers. The number one option going to be Jalen Polk. Is it going to be Tyquan Thornton? The offensive line is depleted. They traded Matthew Judon. Christian Barmore has freaking blood clots. The only thing that we know for sure that's like a for sure good player in this team is Christian Gonzalez.
Yeah, it's going to be a rough year for the New England Patriots, Robbie, but at least with a guy like Drake May, it looks like there might be a nice little light at the end of the tunnel. How long that tunnel is, however, we're going to have to wait and find out. I would just like to allude to Bob's comment there about Trey Lance. And just get him, Bob, I'd like your opinion on Jerry Jones saying that he can guarantee Trey Lance has a roster spot. Is it time for Trey Lance to be done with this league here, Robbie? 5 interceptions. I mean, he had that one great running play that seems to be popping up everywhere, but 5 picks.
That doesn't matter. Yeah.
It's you almost feel bad for the guy. 3rd overall pick, I believe it was. 3rd or 2nd overall?
He was 3rd. He was picked over Zach Wilson, or no, he was right after Zach Wilson, I think. He was picked for Mac Jones. He was picked for Justin Fields.
I mean, terrible.
It was an atrocious decision by the San Francisco 49ers, and they're very lucky that Brock Purdy panned out.
Yeah, thank God Mr. Irrelevant popped in there.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that great? That's insane.
Yeah. But Robbie, if we are first of all, that is not how you spell Deshaun Watson, Bob. But if we're going to be talking about quarterbacks here, actually, I would like to talk about Deshaun Watson because I'm a little bit upset right now, Robbie.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen this man throw a football in what seems like a decade. All right. Recovered from shoulder surgery. And he's supposed to give me a little splash Saturday night in game 3. And what happens? They sit him due to arm soreness.
Mm-hmm.
And Robbie, there's a certain word called deja vu. And it is really just starting to creep up on me that if this motherfucker hurts this goddamn arm again, I'm literally going to go to Cleveland and cut it off myself.
No.
I mean, we got now Deshaun Watson. Obviously, I'm assuming they did say I think he's like more than okay to be like this is just completely precautionary. I guess they have to be they have to kind of proceed with caution when it comes to this guy because it seems like he's made out of fucking paper mache. And then now we got the news about Nick Chubb being out till at least week 5, Rob, which I think we had that one. I think that one we kind of knew was going to come.
He probably will come back week 8, week 9, I think.
Yeah. So, tough news to hear there, but I mean, the Deshaun Watson one, that this guy's got to figure this the fuck out. And Nick Chubb has every goddamn right to sit out till week 8, week 9.
Yes.
Deshaun Watson, your fucking ass better be backing up game 1, snap 1, and you better be fucking ready to play. Because I want to first of all win some money from Bob, and I want to have some bragging rights.
Well, a lot of people think about this towards Deshaun Watson, bro.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
And Robbie, I can see why they say that because let's be honest with one another here. Sure, I think he's had a pretty decent record with the Browns thus far, but I mean, he has not looked like Deshaun Watson of the Houston Texans, and now he's got a great tight end, some great wide receivers. Another guy I want to say too, this 5th round pick we got here, I think his last name's Thrashy. I can't exactly remember his name off the top of my head, but he looks fantastic so far in the preseason. Again, I know it's only preseason, 5th round pick, but maybe we're looking at a Puka Nacua type deal here with the Browns. You never know. A man can dream, Robbie. A man can dream.
That's what it all takes. That's what it all takes is a freaking dream, and maybe it all pans out.
Yeah, so hopefully Deshaun Watson's playing week 1, and unfortunately for us Browns fans, and I'm not talking about you, Rob, I'm talking about the guys that listen to the show that are Browns fans, which honest to God, I don't think we have any. So I guess I'm speaking just to myself at this moment. The Nick Chubb news hurt. And I knew it was going to come, but I just expected. Like, what if? Maybe we get him week 2.
The Chubb news was going to come.
Okay. And let's move on. Okay, Mr. Robbie.
Why is he coming at you? He's talking about that with Deshaun Watson, and then this.
Yeah, well, Bob, what is Bob living in 1990 something?
1996 or 95. Yeah.
And I've literally become a fan of football over the last 6 years, Bob. So technically, since I become a fan, we both experienced literally no wins, except I got a playoff win. Cowboys have they won a playoff game in the last little while, Robbie?
2022.
Okay, I had a feeling. I that wasn't even like a dig. I was actually asking about a question.
2000.
Sorry about my life. Bob, I've literally heard that the Dallas Cowboys are arguably the hardest team to cheer for. So I'm going to say sorry for your luck, sir.
Well, at least you're used to kind of mediocrity, and this is just like a new thing that you're adjusting yourself to. I'm not even talking shit. It's the truth. That's what the Browns have been since I've been alive.
Well, the tide is turning, baby. But I guess if we are on
this year, are they winning a Super Bowl?
No, they're not going to win a Super Bowl this year. I got to see what Deshaun Watson looks like first before I make some sort of proclamation like that. But as of the teams I'm seeing, I at this point, Robbie, I think we're probably going to be a third place team in our division. So I'm hoping playoffs, but I'm thinking we could crack second.
Now, just while we got most of you guys here, and for those of you listening on the podcast, we are not going to be doing a show live next Monday. Next Monday is Labor Day. Next Monday, even though it's Labor Day, I have work myself to do, Zachary, because I have 2 fantasy drafts next Monday. I have a draft Saturday and 2 drafts next Monday. We'll be back next Wednesday to do a show right before week 1 the NFL season, when it's the Ravens and the Chiefs kicking off Thursday Night Football. And once our once both of our softball leagues have concluded, we will be live Mondays and Thursdays again.
Bam, baby.
Of the year, Zachary. The best freaking time.
I will, you know what I'm doing on Monday, Robbie?
Jerking off?
I'm going to the Toronto Argo and Hamilton Tiger Cat games with Mr. Jonathan Plouffe.
Is that the CFL?
Yes.
That's a joke of a league, let me tell you.
I understand what happened. I don't make the rules.
It's retarded.
No, that was pretty silly. And if you guys know what Robbie's talking about, Argos were playing, I can't remember what team, 19-19 game. Argos line up for the game-winning field goal. They missed the field goal, so the game should be 19-19, but there is a rule in the CFL: if the ball misses the field goal post, but it protrudes or goes through the entire end zone, then it counts as a point.
The walk-off Argo win. Iralau heading left. It heads out, but it's a single point, and it doesn't matter.
You're rewarding failure. Is that what Canada's come to, Zachary? Rewarding failure?
No, first of all, Canada's not making up the fucking rules, okay?
It's in Canada, though, so it kind of just qualifies with the whole situation there.
They're just trying to do something funny, and it's fucking stupid, okay?
It's pretty retarded.
Yes, but me and Mr. Plouffe will be having a couple coldies next Monday in the Steel City of Hamilton.
Fine.
But Mr. Robbie, we were just talking about the Cowboys here, and I guess this news is probably going to get some blood flowing to Bob's wiener. CeeDee Lamb extended by the Cowboys finally after all this tickety talk all year long or all summer long. The job has been done. 4 years, $136 million, making him the second highest non-quarterback player in NFL history, right behind Justin Jefferson. I mean, the man is an absolute machine.
How about them Cowboys?
If you're looking at what Jefferson got, Robbie, I mean, to me, I don't have any problem with what CeeDee Lamb got here.
Well, they're putting themselves in a major situation here because we're in the last year, I believe, of Dak Prescott's contract, as they got to try to get him a contract in the offseason. And not to mention, too, they really are missing the most important player on their team in terms of contract extensions. You know who I'm alluding to, correct?
I can't say I do.
Micah Parsons.
Micah Parsons. Okay.
Micah Parsons is
I was having a brain fart there. I was trying to remember the fucking name.
Most important player on the Dallas Cowboys. Say what you want about Dak Prescott, but they were winning games with freaking Ben DiNucci and Andy Dalton when he was going through his whole injury list. And it's not to say that Dak Prescott isn't a good quarterback. He is. But there is no one more valuable to the Dallas Cowboys, in my opinion, than Micah Parsons, because the offensive line, the offense, the quarterback, they fear the hell out of him, because it doesn't matter how many guys you put up against him. He's going to go on through. He's going to squeeze on in there, and he's going to sack the quarterback.
Yeah, the guy's an absolute fucking beast. I mean, an absolute beast.
That they need to get done. That son, I think they should go for CeeDee Lamb.
They got a lot of money to be spent here. I mean, but the CeeDee, you had to sign CeeDee Lamb, Robbie. The guy's been a fucking.
I still agree, but I just think that Micah Parsons should be number one priority for, and especially if you get him on a cheaper contract, because he's going to pass, whether it's Myles Garrett or Nick Bosa, whoever's the highest paid defensive lineman, he will pass him, and it's just going to eat up more salary for the Dallas Cowboys.
Now I see. We got a little question here from Mr. Bob here, and Jamar Chase actually is on our list to talk about, so might as well get into that there. Now that he has CeeDee Lamb signed this contract here, Jamar Chase finally back at practice now with the Bengals. But what, I could see him signing a very similar deal to this, Robbie. I mean, I could see it just being, I could see him kind of going in there now, going, well, in his mind, he's probably the same receiver as CeeDee Lamb. I think it's very close.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
so I think why not? Does he not go in there now and gets 4 years, $136 million, and fucks over the Bengals?
Mm-hmm. Well, the Minnesota
Vikings, love that.
Josh Jefferson tops the market at $35 million a season. AJ Brown checks at 32. Amon-Ra 30.003. Tyreek Hill at 30.
And this makes CD, I believe, 34.
They signed Murray Cooper to a 5-year, $100 million deal worth $40 million guaranteed. In 2015, Des Bryant was 5 years, $70 million, $45 million guaranteed. So with him getting his $136 million deal, the second highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history, 4 years, $136, $38 million signing bonus, $100 million guaranteed per sources. I don't think Chase gets Justin Jefferson money, because the reason why Justin Jefferson got that money is because they're not paying any quarterback. They're paying Sam Darnold like $11 million. So they had all this money to work with, and they're hoping that when J.J. McCarthy comes back next year, that he's their friend.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think we were talking about it last episode. I've heard that Jamar's asking for $40 million a year.
No.
Which hey, you're fucking out of your goddamn mind.
Yeah. And you know what? Hate to say it. It goes on Joe Burrow. One of the reasons that Tom Brady was so successful throughout his whole career is because he took massive pay cuts. I know that it's an extra $20 or $30 million, and it's so lucrative, and it sounds, for us, it's easy to say, what's $20, $30 million to you? But that is a lot of money. However, do you think that if Jamar Chase was to go, let's say he doesn't play at all this year, or they trade him away, which I don't think they're going to trade him away, and I don't think he's not going to play the whole year. But hypothetically speaking, if there's no Jamar Chase all the season with the healthy Joe Burrow, with the healthy T. Higgins, no more Tyler Boyd, because I believe he went to Tennessee.
Yeah, he's gone.
Where do we put the Bengals in terms of contention for the AFC? Are they better than Buffalo? I don't know. Are they better than the Jets? I don't think they're better than the Jets.
No, I don't think they're better than the Jets. I think the Browns would be better than them at that point.
Browns could
Ravens.
The Ravens would be better than them.
Chiefs, Dolphins.
Mm-hmm. They got to figure it out, because you cannot afford to not have Jamar Chase on that team with Joe Burrow, especially that LSU connection. You knew what you were doing. You knew what you were doing to bring in Jamar Chase. You got to keep his favorite target since college at home with him.
Yep, pay the man, but I think at this point you got to use the CeeDee Lamb contract as a guideline here. So, hey, buddy, that is by far the absolute ceiling of a deal that we're going to be getting done here.
And will it get done? I don't know that it does get done this year.
Well, he is back at practice now, though, so it may be.
Well, with the season coming up, I mean, I obviously he's going to play, and the worst thing that could happen for Chase is any sort of nagging injuries, whether it's an ankle, a back, a hammy. He's got to hope he's healthy for all 17 games.
Yep, and I guess if we are on the discussion of signing here, Robbie, the defending Super Bowl champions, defending back-to-back Super Bowl champions, Kansas City Chiefs making a couple signings. One a free agent signing, one a re-signing.
Mm-hmm.
Bringing back wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster, which I believe you said last podcast.
Would happen. Yep, I called it.
You are a fortune teller, my friend. But the big one here, Robbie, making Mr. Humphrey the top paid center in the league, 4 years, $72 million, $50 million guaranteed. Even the centers are getting paid big bucks, but I guess when you are protecting Mr. Patrick Mahomes, you better get your goddamn cash.
Now I wonder if this is actually Corvette. Let's see.
Bitch, Corvette.
No. I was trying to get that freaking doom, 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 bitch. Corvette. For Juju. But I don't have it here. Now, it makes sense for the Chiefs to do this for two reasons. Number one, Hollywood Brown. What's the extent of his injury? How much time could he miss? And that's a slot that needs to be filled because there's talks about Kadarius Toney possibly not making the roster. Number two, what's going to go on with Mr. Rice? Is he going to face a lengthy suspension? Is he not going to face a lengthy suspension? If he's going to get no suspension, this is a security blanket move. And like I told you, Juju Smith is no Batman. He is a Robin. He is a very successful number 2, number 3 option on offense. And I think he will have a much better year than what he had in New England because, number one, he has Patrick Mahomes throwing the ball. Number 2, there's no more Mac Jones. Number 3, he's not the first option. Now, Mr. Humphrey, you have two really high paid offensive linemen on that team. You have Mr. Humphrey and you have Joe Thuney, former New England Patriot. That was one of the reasons why Tom Brady also left is because Thuney had his mind made up. He's not going to return to Foxborough. And now he's over in Kansas City. You protect your quarterback at all costs, and the Chiefs are doing the right thing.
Yep, mine as well. It's a lot of money for Mr. Humphrey. Congratulations, sir. Now, what else do I have here? Okay, we have one more bit of news before we get into our fantasy thing. Actually, before we get into that, I want to ask you about Mr. Trent Williams here, Robbie. What the fuck is going on here?
I don't know.
He's came out now publicly said his holdout will extend into the season if a deal doesn't get done.
Mm-hmm.
That guy is a dynamic fucking player when he's out there.
Breaking news.
What happened?
Well, before I break breaking news, I'm going to go over to my favorites here on our blurb so I can give you the horn potentially, although it is lagging and I don't think it's going to be physically possible, Zachary, but we're trying to work out the kinks as we go along.
Robbie, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to need you to repeat that, please.
No problem. According to Tom Pelissero, running back Dalvin Cook is flying to Dallas to meet with the Dallas Cowboys.
Wow.
The Cowboy, I didn't even know this man was a free agent. I remember he was playing with Baltimore in the playoffs last season. That would be a major upgrade from what they got going on in running back.
Would it be a major upgrade?
I don't think he's washed. I think
not washed, but he's not Dalvin Cook of 3-4 years ago.
I'd argue that he might be.
Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see. But I'm not.
I'm a big.
I don't think this tips the scale for me on the Cowboys.
I think
for next season,
you go from Ezekiel to Dalvin Cook.
Well, it's definitely an upgrade, but I'm not going to say this is like the fucking the end all be all.
What are they going to do? Run 5'6" Deuce Vaughn into a bunch of freaking grown men?
Yeah, that fucking midget.
Zach.
Anyways, sad news here, Robbie. Before we get into our fantasy rankings for quarterbacks and running backs, Ravens offensive line coach Joe. This is a very Italian last name. D'Alessandris has unfortunately passed away at the age of 70. When I was reading today, I guess there was like some sort of sickness or something. He went in for a surgery, and I guess it ended up taking his life. So rest in peace, Mr. Joe D'Alessandris.
Yes, rest in peace. We didn't know who you were, but we wish you your family prayers.
That's what we do here, and I also hope that this makes the offensive line awful for the Ravens.
You are just an absolute scumbag.
And I think it's time for some fantasy rankings.
Okay. I believe we're starting with running backs, correct?
You want to do running backs first? Sure.
Yeah, we saved the quarterbacks for last.
It's the Sports Cave's top 10 running backs, full point PPR fantasy ranking. Number 10.
You want me first on this one?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Robbie. This gentleman came into the league last year. on a team that already had a running back that was putting up incredible numbers throughout the season after a little bit of an injury, and he took full advantage. With that other gentleman getting a little bit older, I think that Mr. Devin Achane is poised to take over a little bit, and I have thrown him in at number 10.
I'm very high on Mr. Achane or Achane, whatever his name is. He is going to be an honorable mention on my list. He did not crack the top 10. I will tell you who is number 10 for me. Number 10, staying within that division, we are going to Foxborough, and we are going to completely ignore Ramondre Stevenson, unfortunately. You see what I did there? But it is within that division. At number 10, we're going to go all the way over to Buffalo, and we're going to go look at James Cook and say, James Cook, you are number 10. Now, James Cook, there was one game last year, I believe, where he had over 200 rushing yards in one game with 2 or 3 tutties. I could be mistaken. However, with the lack of receiving, I think they're going to find a way to finagle a nice QB option with Mr. Cook and Mr. Allen. And I think James Cook is going to be very successful, especially if they start allowing him to be a playmaker outside the backfield on passing downs. We'll see. But I think James Cook is going to have a very good year. I have him listed at number 10.
Number 9.
Number 9. I mean, this man needs no introduction at all. Another man that took the league by storm last year, Mr. Kyron Williams.
And we agree. Kyron Williams, I have listed at number 9 as well. Now, let's not forget that the Rams, they've been scattering. They've been trying to find someone to fill in that void when Todd Gurley was at his absolute peak, when he was one of the best running backs in football. And they've gone through a good amount of running backs throughout that time. Henderson, Cam Akers, Sony Michel. They've gone through a good amount of guys. No homo, no diddy. But Kyron Williams really took that offense by storm last year, whether Stafford was playing hurt or not hurt. And I think that he will excel going into this season.
Bam.
Number 8.
Number 8. Now, while I don't like this man as a running back for some reason, I don't know if it's because I've had him in fantasy before and he's done fuck all for me. I just think with what he did last season and the sort of lack of, again, wide receiver depth, although they did just sign a wide receiver not too long ago, and I think I might have just given my pick away, from the Kansas City Chiefs, Isaiah Pacheco.
Now, I think Isaiah Pacheco is a very good running back. I don't view him as a good fantasy running back. I think he's mid-tier. He wouldn't even come close to cracking my top 10.
Well, now I feel stupid. Thanks.
And given that we're doing full point PPR rankings, Zachary.
I don't even, I full point, half point. I don't even know which one I play, to be honest with you.
That's fair. But I play full point. And this guy is a full point monster. Number 8, I'm going with Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara really rebounded last season. After the year prior to, he was an absolute bust.
You're going to bring up this dinosaur, Alvin Kamara.
Because it's PPR format, Zachary. Every reception is 1 full point. And if he ends up with 7 receptions for 50 yards and a tutty, that's 18 points right there, Zachary. That's a pretty good game. Alvin Kamara, number 8. Oh, excuse me.
That's good. Okay.
Number 7.
Now that I'm looking at my list, I honestly feel like I should have had this guy just a little bit higher, but hey, I'm going with what I have written down here. He's on a new team. He's a big boy. He gets he's a little bit older, Robbie, and we're not really too sure what to expect from him last year, but you got to have Derrick Henry on a list. So I'm going to put Derrick Henry in at number 7. I know that might be a little low, but I'm just not too sure what to expect from him. But I also expect him to have a pretty goddamn good year next year, Robert.
Now, before I tell you who my number 7 is, I want to give a quick shout out to the person that really made me think this through. Shout out to Caleb Bean. Caleb is a very, very ginormous Giants fan, and sometimes he speaks some blasphemy like he thinks that Daniel Jones is a top 10 quarterback in football.
Wop, wop.
But he was right about one thing. The gentleman I have at number 7. Number 7, we're going to Philadelphia, and we're picking Saquon Barkley at number 7.
Wow.
Why so low? And I will tell you why. Honestly, I would probably change my top 10 running backs after speaking with him about Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley's offensive coordinator is none other than former Cowboys, former Chargers, Kellen Moore. And the one thing you know about Kellen Moore, He loves quarterbacks throwing the ball. I think under him, they are the least utilized rushing team in the NFL. And I think a lot of touches are going to be taken away from Saquon unless he changes his philosophy going into this season. And if that's the case, that Saquon isn't getting his 20 to 25 touches and he's getting 15 to 20, 20 minimum is important. But if it's down to 15, that's drastic. That is drastic in terms of points. So for those reasons, with Kellen Moore as the offensive coordinator, I think Saquon can easily be top 5, maybe even top 3. But with Kellen Moore as his offensive coordinator, I say he's lucky to make the top 10. Saquon Barkley, number 7.
Did not have Kellen Moore's information when I made my list. I'm just going to say that out loud.
Number 6.
Number 6, this man a couple years ago, just only a couple years ago, was the consensus number 1 pick across the board. Now he's dealt with a few injuries. His team's not very good, but Jonathan Taylor is still an absolute beast, and I have him coming in at number 6.
Well, number 6, I have a gentleman that you alluded to earlier, King Henry. Derrick Henry I have coming in at number 6. And it's very uncertain on what he's going to be in Baltimore because we know how much the ball stays in Lamar Jackson's hands. So I don't think Lamar will be shy to give up the ball. It's probably been the most he's given up the ball his entire career, but it's also going to be the least amount of touches Derrick Henry's ever seen in his entire career because that Tennessee Titans offense for years was built off of Derrick Henry. So how can Derrick Henry adapt to this new role where it's not all about him and how we can make these touches matter during these big games? We will see. Derrick Henry, number 6.
Henry.
Number 5.
Oh, look who finally came in after all this time. My little brother Tyler is here. What up, Tyler?
Tyler, what's happening, brother? Robbie, my number 5, the man from 8 Mile, the man from Detroit City, Mr. Jahmyr Gibbs.
Now, what's the status with him heading into week 1? Is he going to end up playing, or what's going on with this whole hamstring
Let
injury
me
here?
get into that.
Now, do you know how to spell Jahmyr Gibbs without looking at your list? Or did you spell it like however you spelt it? Did you see the proper way to spell his name?
Is it Jahmyr?
It is. Jahmyr. Jahmyr Gibbs.
Jahmyr Gibbs is a man. If I'm looking,
Just because you're representing Jamaica for your beer Olympics doesn't make.
what happened here?
Zachary.
Hello? Yeah, there we are.
Yep, my shitty internet. Although
I think your dial-up internet's fucking around again.
no shit.
Robbie, to answer your question, he has resumed practicing as of 6 hours ago. So very good sign about him returning into week 1. And I have Mr. Jahmyr Gibbs at number 5.
Well, my number 5, Zachary, we have 2 the same. We had Kyron Williams, I believe, at number 9. We both have Jahmyr Gibbs at number 5. And let's see how he takes that next step going into the season.
See, look at that. We're on the same page for a couple of these.
We are. I don't like that. I can tell you one thing. We won't be at number 4.
No, we won't.
Number 4, you're a whore.
Now, I didn't know about this Kellen Moore fucking fella. So I got Mr. Saquon Barkley at number 4.
Well, number 4, I got Jonathan Taylor because if Anthony Richardson stays healthy, he's going to be able to do JT things. We know what he could do in terms of the rushing game. I believe he excelled a little bit last year in the receiving game. We will see what happens, but I'm going to go with Jonathan Taylor at number 4.
Number 3.
Number 3.
I think we're going to be the same the whole way through here.
Christian McCaffrey. I'm kidding, Mr. Robbie. I have Mr. Bijan Robinson at number 3.
Any reason?
Well, you know what? I mean, Bijan, first of all, the guy's a fucking absolute dog.
Yes.
But and I came very, very close to putting him number 2 in front of the gentleman I have at number 2, but
which I think is going to be a swap for both of us because number 3, I have Breece Hall, and I really thought about putting him at number 2. And they're both lined up to be very, very successful. I just think that Bijan means a lot more to the Falcons than what Breece Hall means to the Jets.
I guess the jest with Rodgers, it might be more of a throwing offense.
You the real MVP.
Oh, shit.
Well, Dre, who's too
Damn.
far, welcome.
Jay, welcome, motherfucker. How are you?
I know exactly who this is. I freaking knew it. I knew it, Deshaun, you piece of crap. I knew it. I freaking knew it. Damn it.
Smart man.
Knew it, man. Unbelievable. And you know what's funny is whenever I see Deshaun, it's never what's up, how you been. It's always Brooklyn fucking sucks.
Well, the man knows. First of all, the guy's just absolutely nailing it. Brooklyn Nets suck. Yeah, I know. Raptors suck too, but that doesn't dispute the fact that the Brooklyn Nets also suck. But yeah, like you said, Robbie, I got Robinson 3.
Your mother
Hall
sucks.
2.
Your mother sucks.
Okay. You want to do this mother stuff in here?
Yeah,
I'm
you
going to
deserve
give you
that.
about
You want to feed in with him? You want to feed in?
3, 2, 1. All right. Guess what? Janice is going to be getting chirped at some point this show, and I'm not going to do it right now. Yeah, you just made fun of my mom, so.
Completely muted. There was no need for that. I didn't throw your mother's government name out there like that.
Janice Clark.
You're cooked.
Anywho, Robbie, Robinson 3, Hall 2. Why don't you just announce number 1?
I'm D's number 1 man.
Fucking goddamn idiot.
You see? You're going to not only my mother, you're going to Tyler's mother too.
Tyler, I did not. Yeah, Bob, I know it's not her real. You want me to say her real last name, Bob? I was saying it to protect her identity a little bit. You fucking idiot. Number 1, Christian McCaffrey. I'm just going to say that all that right now. We're going to get the show back on the road here.
Number 1, I have Nick Chubb.
Okay.
As the number 1 failure in the NFL this year. Number 1, I have Christian McCaffrey.
That was, first of all, that was terrible.
Terrible, which will be Nick Chubb season. Absolutely terrible. Thank you.
Oh, my God. And over 2. Oh, for 2. Anyways, why don't we get into some quarterback rankings here?
Oh, you want to get into quarterbacks?
It's the Sports Cave's top 10 full-point PPR quarterbacks fantasy football.
Woo!
At number 10.
Now, Zachary, number 10 was actually pretty difficult for me to try to figure out here because you're also leaving out a lot of pretty decently sized quarterback names. I have a lot of quarterbacks from my top 10. I think
not in this list.
I don't think because this is fantasy football at the end of the day. This is different between driving down the field and getting your team points where it matters to their own successful terms of points. So number 10, I really thought about number 10 long and hard, no homo, no diddy.
Queer.
And I'm not willing to leave this guy out of the top 10 yet, even though his weapons offensively is nowhere as good as it's been last year and 2 years ago. But I believe in this kid's talent so much that he'll find a way to gain points for fantasy football teams across leagues. And at number 10, with all that being said, the very talented from the University of Oregon, Justin Herbert and Los Angeles Chargers, I'm putting at number 10.
He unfortunately did not crack my list this year, Robert.
Because you're sleeping.
I guess I am. I'm sleeping on the lack of talent he has around him, so maybe he'll prove me wrong this year. At number 10 for me, I have the gentleman out of the Green Bay Packers, Mr. Jordan Love.
Why is everybody so crazy on this Jordan Love train?
First of all, I mean, did you see what he did last year? Looks fantastic.
Towards November, December. That's fantastic. But
exactly. Now you can ride this momentum going into the season, into a sophomore year.
The whole season we're talking about here. We're not talking about November, December. We're talking September all the way to the end of December into early January.
Well, it's also kind of the first time he's ever had a starting role. You got to give the guy a little bit of time to adjust and get into it.
It's fair. It's fair. All right. I'm not going to hate too much. You know what, Zachary? You changed my mind. Okay. With that being said.
Number 9.
You know, I wanted to do my absolute best to try to leave this guy off because I just absolutely hate the fan base. I hate the team. But I would be foolish to not have Dak Prescott in the top 10, so I put him at number 9.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah, oddly enough, I have that fucking bum as number 9, too.
How about them Cowboys?
Dak Prescott.
Dak Prescott.
Number 9.
Number 8.
Number 8. Off the torn ACL last season, with Marvin Harrison brought in this year, with his way to still utilize his legs, with Trey McBride, I think people are sleeping on Kyler Murray. I got Kyler Murray in the very, 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 very last round in my draft last night. Only 8-man league. But in the very, 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 very last round, round 16, I snagged Kyler Murray. There is still something there for Kyler Murray. Whether it's throwing or whether it's running, he's still got something left to prove, folks. And with Marvin Harrison, again, I'll bring it up again, Marvin Harrison Jr. coming in with Trey McBride, I think there's a good chance we can see Kyler Murray not only be a top 10 fantasy quarterback, maybe even top 5. Kyler Murray, number 8.
Big prediction. My number 8, Robbie, and again, this is a gentleman that could easily jump up higher on this list, but again, coming off a big injury last season, which happened to be his rookie season. I have Mr. Anthony Richardson from the Indianapolis Colts at number 8. A guy that I think, again, could jump up a lot higher on this list when it comes to fantasy football rankings. But as of now, I just got to see how he bounces back from that injury. And I just got to see how the first few weeks play out. But right now, coming in at number 8.
Number 7.
Well, I'm going with who you have at number 8. I'm going Anthony Richardson, number 7. And he really took the lead by storm last year, especially fantasy football. He was incredible. This guy has a hell of an arm. Michael Pittman took a tremendous step last season to prove that he could be a number 1 option, which he will be for the Indianapolis Colts. I think that although he did miss the majority of the year last year, he got 2 things. He got 1, the experience on the field, and 2, he got to learn off the field. I mean, Gardner Minshew was very, very good. I'm sure there's a lot of things that he was having full-on conversations with him about, and he got to see what he was seeing and, working through with him on it. So with that being said, Anthony Richardson, I'm going to put at number 7.
Well, Robbie, guess what we just did there, sir? We just flip-flopped our picks.
Yep.
Because I am very high on Kyler Murray as well as you are this season. I have you coming in at number 7.
If I may, you're always high.
Okay. But I meant on the fantasy rankings list. I believe that this gentleman is going to have a bounce-back year of epic proportions. He's got a bona fide superstar wide receiver coming in Marvin Harrison Jr., like you said, Trey McBride, too. We're talking about a top-end talent, a tight end. And, I mean, the guy is he's just a little fucker. Like, I feel like he can just slide underneath you, but when it comes to the running, I feel like I meant that as in a compliment way,
I guess.
And, again, I just think he's going to be pretty good this year. I have him at number 7.
Stays off the weed.
You start listening to Stephen A. Smith, Zachary, you should stay off the weed.
Bing bang.
Number 6.
Now, this one might shock you, and this one may shock some others that I did leave him out of the top 5. And I went through my top 5, and as soon as I got to number 6, I was like, I feel like I'm missing somebody. And then when I looked,
why do I think we have the same name here?
And when I looked, I was like, I don't know if I'm putting above these other 5. So I think I'm putting number 6. And with that being said, folks,
can we do it? Oh, you should say first.
No. You want to count down from 3?
Yeah, I want to see if we have the same guy.
Okay. At number 6, 3, 2, 1.
Joe Burrow.
What? You have Joe Burrow at number 6?
Fantasy, yes. I always I like to include the running quarterbacks higher regard. Jalen Hurts, I have very high on my list, to be honest with you, with what I'm looking around his team next year.
The floor is yours.
Joe Burrow obviously could be a top 5, could be even a top 3, but he literally has no mobility whatsoever. He is a stay-in-the-pocket quarterback that can sling for 300 yards. But when it comes to fantasy football, the guys like, I'm not going to say any names because I'll say the names later on. The more athletic running quarterbacks are the ones that I find to do a little bit better, whereas Joe Burrow might be a better quarterback than 3 out of the 6 names or 3 out of the 5 names that I say next. But when it comes to fantasy point-wise, I'm just not too high on Joe Burrow as a fantasy quarterback.
I think a lot of people, including yourself, are really sleeping on the biggest loss that the Philadelphia Eagles have going into this offseason. That's Jason Kelce. Jason Kelce, and there's a lot of things out here I've seen on Twitter and of course, this doesn't have to, it kind of does have to do with fantasy, is that when there's zero blitz, that Jalen Hurts has a hard time picking out the protection. That's what Jason Kelce did. When we're talking about the the quick sneak, Jalen Hurts was successful based off of Jason Kelsey. It's going to be a major transition alone just from losing Jason Kelsey. And I think that we're going to see his numbers go down due to the fact of lack of protection. And again, I know I alluded to earlier with Kellen Moore, loving to throw the football. Once you get in that point in the games where you're throwing the football too much and the defenses are figuring out, it's going to cause disaster in terms of your fantasy numbers. I don't know, man. I think you are right with his legs. He definitely could utilize his legs, but I don't think he utilized them as much as he did his rookie season.
Well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens here. But you have CJ Stroud at number 6. I have Joe Burrow, and I think we're both a little bit surprised by both those picks.
No.
So
who do I have at number 6?
Sorry, not CJ Stroud. I've just looked at my list. Fuck. Jalen Hurts, son of a bitch.
All right.
Number 5.
CJ Stroud.
Yeah, I have CJ Stroud. Yeah.
Stroud, I have it at number 5. And if you had asked me last year before the season started, would I have him in top 5? I'd say no.
God,
if you
no.
had him in the top 10, I'd say no. If you said I had him in top 15, I'd say no. Because I look at the overall success out of the Ohio State in terms of quarterbacks, and there's nothing. And now, all the way at the very, very top, when you think of Ohio State quarterbacks that are successful in the NFL, it may have only been 1 year, but it's the most success I've ever seen with my own very eyes out of the Ohio State. It is
Got that right.
And CJ Stroud with Nico Collins, with Stephon Diggs, with Tank Dell, with Dalton Schultz.
And by the way, if history is going to repeat itself, guys, go hammer Marvin Harrison Jr. to win the Rookie of the Year award, because I believe Ohio State has now had 6 out of the 6 last Rookie of the Year award winners. That's the future national champions Ohio State I'm talking about, by the way, folks. Which we're going to get more into next Wednesday's episode. Robbie, I would like you to do number 4 because I have another one I think that's going to shock you.
Okay.
Number 4, you're a whore.
At number 4, I'm going with Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in football. But after last season, what I had for him in fantasy, I would not go for the 3rd, 4th, or 5th round for Patrick Mahomes this season. Patrick Mahomes is at number 4 for me.
I, too, have Mr. Patrick Mahomes at number 4 as well.
Mahomes.
I thought that was going to surprise you. You had him higher, but I guess we're both on the same page here. Guys, like you said, best quarterback in the league.
My number 6 and your number 3 are going to be flip-flopped here.
Maybe. We'll see.
Oh, wait a second. You changed your pick, you son of a bitch.
Which one?
You have Patrick Mahomes at number 4.
Yeah.
Earlier on in the day, folks, Zachary messaged me. He'd be like, he's lucky that he barely even cracked my top 3. So I go, oh, so he's number 3. And he's like, well, I guess I kind of just gave it away there. So you changed it. No, I didn't actually. I might have just worded it wrong then. It's just been like that the entire day. Yeah, because you said he barely cracked your top 3, so alluding to he cracked the top 3.
Are you sure I said that? I think maybe I said top 4.
Let me see. No, because I'm pretty sure you said top 3.
Oh,
We're going to find out right now. I already finished mine. I'm almost didn't make my top 3. So
made a mistake. Oopsies.
Yep, nice job.
Or maybe I was just keeping you on your toes, you fucking cocksucker.
If anybody should be on their toes, it's you with your freaking COVID death symptoms.
Yeah, well, you too. I'd rather be on my toes than where you normally are, which is on your knees. Now, why don't we get into the top 3 here?
Shut up, bitch!
You bastard.
Number 3.
At number 3, I have Joe Burrow at number 3.
I have Lamar Jackson at number 3, which I feel like I should have swapped him with who I have at number 2. But that's what I have at number 3, Robbie, Mr. Lamar Jackson. And it solely has to do with the fact that this man can't stay healthy. He always finds ways to get injured throughout the season. It's because he puts his body out on the line 24/7. If he can stay healthy, he could easily be number 1 on this list. But the man can't stay healthy, Robbie. So for that fact, coming in at number 3.
Number 2.
At number 2, I have the 2-time MVP, Lamar Jackson, who drastically improved his passing game last year, which really, really benefited fantasy owners across all leagues. If he can carry that on into this season, I think Lamar Jackson could be in line for possible third MVP. But it depends because we'll see if everybody's healthy or if everybody's hurt. So we'll see.
Yeah. My number 2, Robbie, was Mr. Jalen Hurts. I feel like I have him really high on this list.
No shit.
I just been reading a lot of shit where everyone just is they're really in on him this year, Robbie, and I ate it up. I ate it up like Kobayashi.
How's that
go? But yeah, my number 2, Mr. Jalen Hurts, and then I guess that leaves only one man left for us to both have at number 1.
Number 1.
We're going to go over to the snowy area
of Cleveland, Ohio. Deshaun Watson, baby. Is unfortunately not the number 1 pick here, guys, because I believe it is going to be none other. Actually, no, Robbie, you were doing a good introduction. I'll let you get in there.
Okay. All eyes on me. Do I echo it or do I not echo it?
Yeah, give it an echo.
Ladies and gentlemen, the number 1 fantasy football full point PPR quarterback across all formats in Buffalo, New York, with those crazy ass drunk fans going through tables, raw, fire, Louis. It don't matter. Because just like how those fans are going through tables, that ball is going across the end zone. None other than Joshua Allen.
Well, I can't say I've ever heard anyone call him Joshua, but that would be his government name. But yes, Josh Allen will be the number 1 quarterback, or at least our number 1 ranking guy for this year's fantasy. Yes, we know his wide receiver depth is depleted, but it just seems like that guy every year just puts up fantasy points like a fucking madman.
Here's one of my favorite QB cadences in football.
Josh Allen, why don't you give us a version of it?
I don't know. I might get a little. 120. What's that?
Oh my God! And we're done with that, there, folks. But that is the Sports Cave, Zach and Robbie rankings of our 2 lists, there, folks. So fantasy drafts are coming in high, and they're coming in high, and they're coming in hard, baby.
You're coming in hard, no homo.
And Robbie, speaking of football here, I think we'll just allude to this here. I believe next Wednesday we're going to do a bit of a college football season
Daniel,
breakdown.
Welcome, Daniel. Welcome.
Daniel, welcome, sir. How are you?
A little disappointed, but we're always glad to see you hopping in here, bud. Now, Zachary, there is one thing we failed to mention in the NFL.
What's that?
And that is there was a trade in the same division in the NFC East as Jahan Dotson, the number 2 option, and looked very, very good last year in Washington with Sam Howell, will now be joining the Philadelphia Eagles as a 3rd wide receiver in Philadelphia.
Goddamn.
And now, Zachary, I ask you this. How much of a hit does this take on fantasy football for A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith? Does it take a big hit, or do we see that it's still them and he might just get like a touch or 2? Nothing as crazy as Washington.
I mean, I think that if it's taking a gigantic hit on anybody, it's taking on Dotson's very slim chance of ever being drafted to a fantasy football team now.
Yeah.
But like you said, though, I mean, that's got to be probably the best wide receiver 3 in the league.
Mm-hmm.
So that's definitely going to take some sort of looks away from Mr. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, or it goes back to what I say sometimes, too. Maybe it opens him up even a little bit more as well. Maybe you throw him into a play where he could be like a slot guy or something, maybe drag one of the defenders in closer to him, open up A.J. Brown down the field, open up Devontae Smith down the field.
Right.
Maybe you utilize more in that way. Maybe it actually improves them, but
right.
I think no matter where you get those guys, they're still going to be very proficient. Well, at least A.J. Brown anyways.
Yeah, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith are going to do the thing. Jahan Dotson,
Yeah.
I think but this goes back to the whole Kellen Moore thing with how much he loves to have the quarterback slinging the football. So now there's 4 options on offense with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Jahan Dotson, and Dallas Goedert. I'll tell you what, I'd stay away from Dallas Goedert now.
Yeah, I mean, he's that 4th guy down there.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, he's 3rd or 4th, but I mean, his best work comes into the red zone.
Yeah. Yeah, he might have taken a bit of a hit in the fantasy regard there, Robbie.
I think the only person I'd be comfortable drafting would be A.J. Brown. I don't think I have much confidence with Devontae Smith Goddard or Saquon.
I think I'm going to agree with you on
And
that one
thanks
too.
to Caleb, he really changed my mind on Saquon. Like, I don't think I want to touch Saquon at all.
Well, yeah, now that I've heard this information, I'm going to be doing a little bit more research myself to see what I can garner up here.
You should research ways to cure your COVIDness, because didn't you have COVID earlier this year, or are you like an every year like rampage of COVID?
No, it's a common cold. COVID is fucking not even a thing. All right.
You're gonna go that route here. You're gonna go that route.
I have the same cold that I get maybe once a year, once every couple years since I was fucking 3 years old.
This is the time of year where like I'm probably gonna get sick in September or October too with the common cold. Body's trying to, my body goes from freaking 108 degrees working in a warehouse with no freaking air condition to one day it's like 50 degrees outside. I'm like, oh, this is nice. I'm wearing a t-shirt, and then I'm gonna be sick as a goddamn dog.
Yeah, and I've had a couple, like my last like 3 or 4 weekends in a row have been pretty party heavy, I'd have to say too. So that's definitely not going to help the immune system out either.
Because you're an alcoholic.
Okay, well, I mean, I prefer beer connoisseur, but if that's the word you want to use, then I guess that's the word you want to use.
But it kind of works, doesn't it?
You know, it does kind of work, Robbie.
I don't think we have listed. We don't have this listed in the notes. Oh, yes, we do. Yes, we do. Zachary, although I don't have the college football song, I do have our UConn Husky song. As we might as well stick on the topic of football here.
Oh,
that's March Madness. Okay, we're pausing it there.
yes, man. That's quite a howitzer right there. But yes, Robbie, NCAA football is back. The first game of the season was played on Saturday in lovely Dublin,
Ireland.
And I don't know if you listen to the Pat McAfee show, but I happened to catch.
There.
Pardon?
Of course they do, and they had Shea Moose.
Yeah, and he was fucking shit-faced. I honestly had to turn the episode off because every 20 minutes he would just go, oh, 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 oh. And he would start some gigantic chant for the whole bar to go. It was absolutely hilarious. Don't get me wrong, but when you're at work and you want to get drunk and you're listening to these fucking guys get hammered in a podcast, you're like, yeah, I'm just going to turn this off right now. But, Robbie, first game starts off with a bang. Georgia Tech coming in as a plus 10 underdog, or plus 10.5 point underdog against undefeated last season, number 10 Florida State, the team that was rejected from the national championship playoffs last year due to their quarterback Jordan Travis going down with that brutal leg injury. Mm-hmm. And Robbie, they do not get off to a good start for the national championship for themselves this year. Thankfully, it moves to a 12-team playoff, so we're going to see teams with 2 losses, maybe even one 3-loss team. We'll just have to wait and see what happens there. Making this playoffs here, so 1 loss is not going to completely knock you out. But like I said, Florida State upset by Georgia Tech. And like I said, I wasn't able to watch much of this game, right? But from the highlights I saw, Georgia Tech was just running it right down their throats. All I saw from the college game day was Nick Saban, all those guys talking about how excited they were to watch Florida run the football, and it just seemed like Florida was running into a brick wall. Florida State, that is, sorry, running into a brick wall. And I mean, just not the way you want to start off a season. And I think I was reading too, they have 11 guys or something that have now moved on to the NFL or just graduated. So that's a decent amount of spots you got to fill too.
Yep, whole new roster for sure. Now, Zach, I saw this amazing stat on Twitter that I couldn't pass up. In their last 7 games where they were faced as double-digit underdogs, 7 games, Georgia State was 7-0. And as a part of my parlay, I took Georgia State plus 10.5. They are now 8-0. So just remember this, Zachary, in case it happens later on in the season. 8 straight games, Georgia Tech, as
you mean like
digit underdogs.
They win or they're on the spread?
Against the spread.
Okay. Damn.
Against the spread. Very impressive. So as a part of my parlay, you would think, you know what, Zachary, Robbie, your second one must have hit too, right? Is that what you're thinking, Zach?
No, it obviously didn't hit, yeah.
No, because SMU can SMD.
Well, obviously you didn't have a good gambling weekend like myself.
Oh, really? You had a good gambling week. Would you like to tell us all about it? That you didn't share all this with us? Huh?
Oh, I wasn't even really like sports gambling. I had some free spins. I won some money on free spins in the online casino.
Yep.
Put a $2 spin in and hit the grand prize, which was $4,074. So very big W for me. Thank God.
I'm sure the casino had a lot of
Emotional, damn it.
Well, the casino is known as Bet365, so they fucked me more times than I can remember. It's nice to fuck them back.
Well, Zachary, we have a special guest that wants to give you their opinion on your winnings. So, LeBron, what do you think?
Haven't heard that fucking goddamn guy in a while. Yeah, Robbie, NCAA season is finally upon us here. They call this week 0, I guess. So week 1 technically starts, I believe, this Thursday coming up here. But dude, football's back.
Can I go back to that LeBron thing?
Yes.
Okay, what is the lyrics? I believe is hop out of the car, take a photo, maybe, right? How the hell how does he mistake that with this?
How the hell would I know? Huh?
Michael Jordan would never.
Can you just say you're excited for college football, for fuck's sakes?
Excuse you.
Shut up, bitch!
Watch the way you talk to me.
Fuck you.
Shut your fucking mouth.
I will fucking, you'll do fucking nothing.
Well, I think I would. I think I would absolutely beat the shit out of you if I saw you. But Zachary, I am excited for college football, and you know what?
Wrong.
God, you know who I'm going to bring up. You know who I'm going to bring up.
Who's that?
Excited to see what year 3 has in store for the UConn Huskies and Jim Mora. I mean, his first year, they made a bowl appearance. Last year, they were tragically terrible. They got this freshman coming out playing high school football in Texas, and you know how football goes down there in Texas. I'm excited to see what UConn can do this upcoming season. I would hope for at least 5 wins so we can go 5-5. We'll see what happens. I mean, they got a pretty easy schedule, although week 1 they have a tough matchup on the road in Maryland. But you know what, Zachary? You just got to keep the faith, Zachary.
You got to believe right there, Robert. And while I'm not necessarily a UConn football fan,
shut up.
If they're not facing Ohio State, I will cheer for them.
What do you think the spread is against Maryland? In Maryland.
24.5.
In favor of?
Maryland.
20.5. You were close.
Damn it.
So UConn's schedule this year, at Maryland, home against Merrimack. If you lose to Merrimack, you don't, just call the season dead. Then they're on the road at Duke. Then they're against FAU at home. Then Buffalo at home. Then Temple at home. Then Wake Forest at home. Then So basically, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight home games, and then they're on the road for the rest of the season. So again, they'll go at Maryland, home against Merrimack, at Duke, home versus FAU, Buffalo, Temple, Wake Forest, Rice, Georgia State, on the road against UAB, on the road at Syracuse, and former Ohio State quarterback Kyle McCord, I believe his name is right.
Yeah, he sucks dick.
And on the road for the Cum Bowl against University of Massachusetts.
Okay, pardon me. The Cum Bowl? Is that what you call your belly button?
No, that's what I call your mom's vagina.
Well, that's not true at all.
D.
You're going to be doing this podcast by yourself. Actually, I think you are going to be finishing up by yourself.
You went at my...
Can I ask you a question? No, I didn't go at your fucking goddamn cum guzzler of a mother. I didn't go after that cum slut, okay? Do you want me to now?
You kind of did.
Yeah, fuck you.
Tyler,
Keep the fucking moms out of it, for fuck's sakes.
Don't listen to
goddamn fucking idiot. I will fucking walk off.
Moment to
Marcus,
salute
subscribe.
you. Greatest fans in the world.
This guy fucking... Don't make fun of my mom. But he'll come over there and fucking... The only chirp he has is brings moms in. Because he's got fucking nothing.
Well, I'm not going to bring in your dad. That's gay.
Just fucking talk to sports, for Christ's sakes. It's a sports cave.
Big 2-3. Oh, Marcus has been subscribed for 23 months. Shout out to Marcus. Thank
Marky,
you.
how are you, bud? Sorry you have to listen to this idiot make fun of people's moms, and you have to see me make fun of Janice, who's probably a sweetheart. Yeah, I did not want to say that about you, Janice. But sometimes you have to take one off the chin, which... Your son made you take that one off the chin there. Okay.
Shut up, bitch.
Now, why don't we make I'm gonna make a new sports cave rule here.
Okay.
If my lovely mother D gets chirped one more time, I am not doing the show anymore.
Well, if my
All right.
lovely Janice gets chirped.
I'm not starting it, you idiot. You are the one that's starting it. Jesus.
I don't know. We got the tape. We'll go back. Actually, no.
Yeah, we will fucking go back, and I'll fucking prove to you that you started it.
Feisty. You need a beer?
Jesus Christ. Go on, please.
What are we going on with? So we went over. We actually didn't really go over the loss that much against Georgia
No.
State.
You're too busy calling my mom a whore.
Okay, let's just let it go. I mean, you called Ram a cum guzzler, so I mean, bygone.
Do you think I wanted to?
Yes. You didn't say no, so yes. Watch out. Talks between UConn and the Big 12 from the transfer in 2026. Not saying it'll have discussions have begun in Dallas. Why is everything in Dallas?
Yeah, they suck.
Who does?
Dallas.
Okay. I think I need to go on my mother there. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Well, Zachary, so Florida State. I mean, this is the year where the college football playoff expands to 8 teams, I believe, now?
12.
Oh, 12. So
12 teams.
when we look in years, I mean, we can go back to as much as last year. They would have been automatically eliminated for the college football playoff. But there's a chance that they could contend for a way to get into national championship as long as they do well the rest of the season. So if you ask me, I don't think Florida State is going to find a way to put themselves in the national championship picture, the playoff picture. Do you agree?
No, there's no chance. I guess there's a chance of the 12 teams, but I think there is a lot of good college football teams this year.
Mm-hmm.
And their backs are going to be against the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Their backs are going to be against the wall to get in, especially after losing that first game. However, that is no sleeper. Is it Georgia State or Georgia Tech? I thought it was Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech, former home of Calvin Johnson and WWE superstar, the original tribal chief. Acknowledge him, Roman Reigns.
Did you bring wrestling into this?
Do you have something against the tribal chief?
Yeah, fucking wrestling.
He is your tribal chief. You will acknowledge him.
No, I definitely will not.
I'm the tribal chief around here. Yeah, you see me, the tribal chief. You're gonna acknowledge me.
Acknowledge him.
Nope.
Well, then his cousin has something to say to you then.
Shut up, bitch.
Well, what I got to say to that is I say next episode we have ourselves a nice big college football playoff preview sort of thing of maybe some guesses and some surprising teams that might be left out. We can kind of take a guess of what the 12 teams might look like in this, maybe who the top 4 are going to be.
Acknowledge me, Zachary. Acknowledge.
Absolutely not.
Acknowledge me.
Nope.
Acknowledge me.
But Mr. Robert, I'm going down this list here, and we don't rarely have NASCAR news.
Oh my God, dude! I mean,
So I feel like maybe we should slide into this, and I'm just honestly going to give you the floor here because clearly I did not see it.
Zachary, you missed out. So, it's the second race in Daytona International Speedway, as it happens every year. You have the Daytona 500, obviously, and then you have the Coca-Cola. I believe it is the 400. So they're doing I think 160 laps instead of 200 because they're doing 400 miles instead of 500 miles. Zachary. Now,
Damn.
wow. We were down to, I believe, the final 10 laps, Zachary, and there were 2 major car wrecks. I mean, Zach, the first one you're going to see is terrible, and the second one is going to top it even worse. It was absolutely horrific to see. Now, what I got to do here is I got to find the freaking
Hey, Matty.
here, Matty Double D, Delicious. What up, Matty D? Give me a second, Zachary, because there's so many different angles and clips of these crashes, but I want to give you the full-time crash here. Okay, here we go. So this was the first accident heading into turn 2 with Michael McDowell. Now, let me share this tab instead, Zachary. This is all a work in process here. Bam. Here we go. So this was the first accident, Zachary.
Open this full screen here for me.
Okay. You ready for this?
Yeah.
Or should I full screen more? I feel like that's not a good angle. How's that? That's better.
That's pretty good there.
Okay, here we go.
Coming up. Oh, they got together at 3. Whoa! McDowell goes up high. Larson is in it. Reddick's
Look at
in
that,
it. Logano, Wallace, Haley.
I kind of flew there.
That all started in turn 3. Cindric tried to lift to prevent it from happening, but he...
Now, let me go back to McDowell really quick. So, McDowell, you will see go on top of Joey Logano's car. Joey Logano is the same one who was crying and bitching.
Oh, get together at 3. Whoa!
You see that?
Oh my God. That's yellow on yellow crime.
He nearly went into the freaking safety net, dude. So that was his accident, Zachary. Now, you probably think to yourself, it can't be any worse than that, correct?
I think I actually might have seen the other one on thing, but I'm not going to spoil it here.
Josh Berry.
Oh, Barry's gone.
Yeah,
And he
I did
goes
see this
up
one.
and over.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Huge hit for Josh Berry.
Now, look at that. It's still spinning. It's still spinning.
Eric Jones is involved. There's
The fuck is
Austin
That's a fucking overtime? They got overtime in this shit?
Within a certain amount of laps.
That.
Now, Zach, I mean,
Is that man okay?
There's been nothing bad before.
Barry's gone, and he
Oh
goes
my God,
up
just
and
like-
over.
Literally just takes off.
look at the airtime there.
Yeah,
He's above the
just
ground after he hits the freaking wall, dude.
with his head down there.
Listen, we could make jokes about NASCAR not being a real sport. They're just taking a bunch of left turns. But when they're going 190 miles an hour, and that dude is literally defenseless because his car is flipped over, and I don't know what he's doing to hang on, if he's on the steering wheel, if his hands are off the steering wheel, but he had to go at least 120 into that.
Yeah.
That is a scary, scary scene.
And going fucking, and then gliding on your head for the next couple seconds can't be fun.
No. But the reason why I think that the crashes happened the way they did is because you had a lot of unexperienced guys into the front that were taking risky moves that cause catastrophic accidents like that.
Yeah, I mean it's so. What was the fault there? The guy behind him just kind of clipped him there.
Well, let's go back to it. Let's see if they show it again. So I believe the car here, I think it's Mr. Cindric again, try making a risky move, to which he cut off the corner of Mr. Berry, which caused the accident.
Ballsy.
Very ballsy. But
He's a fucking idiot. Well, thankfully no one was hurt there, Robert. Thankfully nobody was hurt.
that we're aware of.
Yeah, very true.
And that's our little bit of NASCAR news. Congratulations to Harrison Burton, his first career win on the Xfinity Series with his father, Jeff Burton, one of the better NASCAR drivers since I've been alive, calling the race as it was. So congratulations, Harrison Burton, and to Barry and McDowell. Hope you are okay and safe.
Damn right.
That's it for NASCAR. That was fun.
All right, Rob, we got some MLB or some NHL here. What would you like to get into?
You know what I want to get into.
Yeah, let's get into some fucking be a goddamn Aaron Judge fucking.
Why do you say it like that? What's wrong?
Because he's on the gay Yankees. I hate the Yankees.
Acknowledge him.
He's a very good baseball player. That's all. That's the best I can do. Which I mean, I feel like you should even be impressed by that.
I should let it go through the whole thing there. And
Say what?
that's what you need to do, Aaron Judge. You should acknowledge him. That dude is absolutely insane. Zach, I mean, take your hatred aside.
No, he's a specimen. He's a specimen.
Bro, when have we ever seen in our lifetime seen a hitter do what he did that he's doing without taking steroids? So we're leaving out people like Josh.
That we know of.
We're leaving out Josh Hamilton. We're leaving out Sammy Sosa. We're leaving out Barry Bonds. This guy has an OPS of 1.2, Zach. 1.2 when you combine his slugging, his on-base percentage, and his average. I mean, this guy is damn close to winning the Triple Crown again, except the guy that's in contention with him for the MVP,
Bobby
Wood Jr., is barely above him in points of average.
That was my MVP pick at the end of the season. I'm proud of myself that he's still up there.
No, mine was Juan Soto, and there's a stat up here, Zachary. The most walks in the American League this season. Do you know who's at number 5?
I'm going to guess Juan Soto.
No.
Aaron
No.
Judge.
No. Number 5 is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He has 59 walks.
Dang it.
Number
He's really
4.
turned it up.
Number 4, you have Randy Arozarena with 61. Number 3. Are you there? Are you there?
Yep.
Okay, hold on. I just had like a little. Let me just make sure we're still live. Okay, we are. Number 3, we have Gunnar Henderson at 65. Number 2, we have Aaron Judge. Would you like to guess how many walks he has, Zachary?
127.
107. And Juan Soto's at number 1 with 109.
Those boys get walked a lot. Well, it's because they hit some nice salamis. You know what I'm saying?
They do.
Well, yeah. I mean, what he's doing this year has been pretty impressive. I think he might. You think he's going to break his own record that he just set last year, Robbie?
Let me look at the rest of the Yankees schedule. So they're in Washington now against the Nationals. That's who they got for the next 3 games. Let me try to look at the rest of their schedule here. So they got Washington, then they got St. Louis, then they're at Texas, then they're at the Cubs, then they're against the Royals, the Red Sox, Seattle, Oakland, Baltimore, Pittsburgh. I think it's very manageable, Zach. I think it's very manageable. I think he can.
What is it? Wait and see. He's on history watch again, folks.
Zach, I'm afraid to refresh here because I can't even load up my dashboard thing here.
Well,
I guess we're gonna rock out the rest of the podcast, folks. I can't do any adjustments with like showing you videos right now. I'm sorry.
We're just gonna see what happens here, Robbie. Well, lucky for you, I have the MLB standings up here right now. We can take a little look at the playoff picture at the moment. Let's see now here in the American League, the Boston Red Sox hold the top spot outside of the playoffs here. Looking in at Minnesota here, that's holding the last wild card spot
By 5 games.
5 games. I mean, this is kind of getting now to the point where it's starting to get spread a little bit here.
Hey, congratulations, Chicago White Sox, for getting their 100th loss of the season. Only took them 131 games.
I mean, guys, really good stuff there. They're actually, Robbie, they're only 41 and a half games back, so it's not over yet.
It's over. They're eliminated mathematically.
Yeah. That was clearly a joke, Robbie. You think
it's not over until next season? They got next season.
It's not over.
Zachary,
But,
did you get their run differential in the season?
Why? Oh, actually, no, this isn't that run differential. It's got to be in the hundreds something. I'm going to say 134.
That's very generous, but they're minus 276.
Oh, my God. Jesus.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, that's not good, Robbie.
No, it's not ideal. It's not what you like
Now-
to hear, you like to see.
So, I mean, obviously, we're looking at the American League. It's a little bit, it's starting to get spread out a little bit here, but that could change any time. Still plenty of baseball left.
I think it's over, dude. Seattle isn't. They just fired their manager in the middle of the season. They should have been way better than what they were. The Red Sox are 5 games out. The Red Sox are over exceeding expectations. Let's be honest here. The fact that they're contending the way they are is part of the reason why they extended Alex Cora, because Alex Cora is a great manager. Tampa, they were going to take their step back once they start trading away everybody before they trade away Randy Arozarena. The Tigers were so uncertain what the Tigers are going to be. It's kind of like they're stuck. The 2 most failing teams right here, neck and neck. The Blue Jays and the Texas Rangers, Zachary. The Texas Rangers coming off a World Series win. Adolis Garcia has been absolutely terrible. Marcus Semien, I haven't heard much about Marcus Semien. Corey Seager's done his thing. And the Toronto Blue Jays, outside of Vlad, Bo Bichette, terrible. George Springer, terrible. Danny Jansen and Alejandro Kirk, both terrible. Is there anyone else I'm missing out on, Zach?
Well, first of all, Danny Jansen's not on the Blue Jays anymore. And also, Danny Jansen made history today, Robert.
Mm-hmm.
Becoming the first MLB player to play for both teams in the same game. Playing for the Blue Jays earlier on this year in a game against the Red Sox, as to which he what the hell is going on here, Robbie?
Oh, no,
as to which
I like have my screen here in a way, but I don't. It's cash shot.
Started off earlier this season playing for the Jays in a game, rain delay. Finished off this game today where he was a member of the Boston Red Sox. And I believe he got into the game because I saw online that he created history. So,
first player in history to do that.
So, stupid stat, but we got to say it.
Well, who else do you view on the Actually, you know what? This is what I was trying to bring up, but then my mind's been wandering all over the place. Chris Bassett was on a show when he basically came out and said that the reason why the Blue Jays are so unsuccessful this year is because they were too brought in on Shohei Ohtani. And it's like what we both alluded to.
He missed out on everyone else.
It was like, well, crap. Now what do we do? It's too late.
Yep. I mean, not to say that even bringing in just one guy is going to make that much of a world of a difference, but I mean, we could be looking at maybe the playoffs at least. You get that one extra hit, those few games a season that could tip the scales, but it looks like the AL might be already wrapped up, Robbie, but the NL is looking a little bit more open here for the...
One last question before we move on. Should the Blue Jays fire John Schneider at the end of the season?
Yes, Rob. Yes. Should have fired that fucking fat alcoholic idiot years ago. Him and Ross Atkins could fuck right off.
Wow. Now, Johnny has to piss his pants now, right? Because they're not going to make the playoffs?
I believe that is a stipulation. I think he is going to have to do an Instagram live urination in his jeans. Now, when he did that the first time, he didn't have near as big of a following as he has now. So,
now, how much water do you think he's going to drink for this piss?
I'm going to assume a decent amount of water to get a good firm leakage.
Do you think
for the
he's going
fans?
to drink a gallon?
I'm not really too sure. Maybe a few bottles, maybe a liter.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm almost done. We're getting there, but.
Well, can we stop talking about water here, Rob? Because I want to finish the sports talk here. Because I need to get the fucking bed. I don't know if you can hear this. Listen to this.
I don't want to just your freaking snot, you stupid.
There is just no breathing happening in this nose right now.
That's what I like to hear. Maybe you'll just continue.
Wow. Anyways, NL wildcard right here, Robbie. Going down the list here: Philadelphia, Milwaukee, LA, Arizona, San Diego, Atlanta. Right outside the playoffs, looking on the outside, looking in 2.5 games back. The New York Mets, 5 games back. San Francisco, also 5 games back. St. Louis, 5.5 games back. The Chicago Cubs.
Bless you.
So I mean, it's a lot closer in the National League, Robbie. It is a lot closer.
Well, the Mets are still fighting, even though I believe they didn't have that best. Zach, it's 3-1. I'm the one who should be going to bed. I won't, but I should. Carl, it's because you're dedicated.
God damn it, Carl. You're a goddamn legend.
Zach's going to make sweet love with you when he sees you.
Oh, my God. What? I mean, if you're in for it, I'm not sure what you can make a weird joke and I can't make a weird joke, Robbie, huh?
I don't think you're making a joke. I think you're speaking off of like interest.
We're going to move on here, Robbie.
All right.
We're going to move on here.
The Mets. I mean, the Mets, I think, had the best chance of swooping and taking that third spot away from the Atlanta Braves. The Atlanta Braves are so injury depleted right now. No Acuna, no Austin Riley, no Ozzy Albies. The Mets are healthy. It's just a matter of trying to win out games as they can. The Giants, I don't think they have a chance. Cardinals, no chance. Cubs, no chance. So I think it's down to the Braves and the Mets. And if you ask me who I'm going to go with all the way to October, I am going to go with the New York Mets.
The New York Mets. 68-63 record.
See if they have one more series left heading on to October. Let me see. All right. So the Mets have now. This is where it's important. They lost, or they went 2-2 in San Diego. 1-2, lost 2. Now starting tomorrow, they have a 3-game slate against Arizona, who's won 6 in a row, who's been very the number 1 team in the NL wild card. So they got to do their best to try to take 2 out of 3. Then it gets easier as they go to Chicago to take on the White Sox. Then it gets a little bit difficult. They have the Red Sox. Then they have the Cincinnati Reds. Excuse me. Then they're on the road to go to Toronto, take on the Blue Jays. Now, NL East, NL East, NL East, NL East. 3 games at Philadelphia. 3 games at home against the Nationals. 4 games at home against the Philadelphia Phillies. 3 games on the road against the Braves, and 3 games on the road against the Milwaukee Brewers. Excuse me. It is going to be a tough task for the New York Mets.
Well, we're going to have to wait and see what happens here.
Now, Zach,
but I think they can do it.
I don't know if you want to go into hockey, but I can't load up your music.
That's okay. You know what? I'll go through hockey real quick.
I'm sorry. This sucks. I can't play the jingle. This is really depressing.
You know what? I'm honestly, I feel like such poo-poo. I don't even know if I can dance for a jingle right now, Robert. But we'll go right through.
Next Wednesday is only football unless it's catastrophic news.
You got that right. We got three things to talk about here in Robbie real quickly. In hockey, Robbie, real quickly. Starting off, kind of surprising news here. The top goalie prospect in not just Nashville Predators organization, but in the entire NHL, Yaroslav Askarov. If that guy ain't Russian, I don't know what is. Wasn't going to make Nashville next year, so he decided to request a trade because he said he was not going to be reporting to the AHL team, and they sent that Russian packing. He got traded very quickly, which I was kind of hoping that the Leafs were going to be on this guy, Robbie, which obviously they weren't. He ends up getting traded to the San Jose Sharks, who keep your eye on the San Jose Sharks team within the next few years, Robbie. Now, I'm not saying next year. I'm even not saying the year after that, but this team in 5 years is going to be unfucking believable. Mm-hmm. But Yaroslav Askarov, along with a 2025 third-round pick and forward Nolan Burke, gets sent to the Nashville Predators, to the San Jose Sharks, and the Nashville Predators receive David Edstrom and a 2025 first-round pick and goalie prospect Magnus Cherona, the teams have announced. So Askarov has only played one game in the NHL, stopping 33 of 35 shots with a 1-0 record. 2 games for the Predators last season. One of them was a start, one of them was a relief performance. So he has a 9.43 save percentage thus far in the NHL, but just it's weird you see a goalie of this pedigree request a trade to get the hell out of there, because if I'm Nashville, I think that I'm doing whatever I can to retain this guy.
Right.
But San Jose is going to get a lot more opportunity. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens with them next year, Robbie. And that was not the only trade that happened last year. My Pittsburgh Penguins also made a bit of a trade as well, swapping 2023 and 2024. 2022 and 2023 12th overall prospects. The Penguins getting the prospect from 2022, Rutger McGorty. Excuse me. The 12th overall 2022 pick, Rutger McGorty, goes to Pittsburgh, where the Jets get the 12th overall pick from the 2023 draft, Braden Yager. And last but not least, Robbie, Seattle Kraken star Matt Beniers signs his after-rookie contract. 7 years, $7.14 million he's getting. I think that could be a bargain and a half in the next few years. But as of now, it's a very fair price to pay, Robbie. And that is a quick, little, very minimal key or recap.
Love it, Zachary. And before we go, I just want to make a note of this. Aaron Judge just robbed someone of a home run and turned into a double play and was absolutely sick. And I can't show the video because my shit's fucked up.
Well, also, we should also point out, no episode next Monday. We'll be back next Wednesday. Enjoy your Labor Day. Enjoy the start of college football.
Yeah, Zach was basically getting ready to end the stream there. I don't know if Zach has the power, but we're going to see. As Zachary, go ahead and try to take us out of the Sports Cave. Thank you all for listening.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is another Monday edition of the Sports Cave. We will see you guys next Wednesday. Stay sexy, Sports Cave. And thank you, Bob.